Chapter 1. Thursday's Test. So what happens when a group of arrogant hotel staffers decide to treat someone poorly based on their own biases? Unfortunately, in most cases, they get away with it. But in this case, they had no idea who they were messing with. Let's just say, Evelyn had a funny way of turning things around. It all started on a sunny Thursday afternoon. The lobby of the Royal Regency Hotel was bustling with activity as guests checked in, staff bustled about, and the front desk phone rang incessantly. Among the crowd was a poised black woman named Evelyn Hayes, dressed casually in a flowy linen blouse and tailored capri pants. Evelyn exuded quiet confidence. She carried nothing that would immediately indicate her status. No flashy jewelry or entourage, just a small canvas tote bag slung over her shoulder. Evelyn had purchased the Royal Regency Hotel 6 months ago. It was her dream to own a piece of local history and transform the struggling establishment into a beacon of hospitality and excellence. But instead of a grand unveiling or press conference, Evelyn decided to take a quieter approach. She wanted to observe how the staff operated under normal circumstances before implementing changes. That day, she intended to check in anonymously and get a feel for how things were running. Approaching the front desk, Evelyn was met with a dismissive stare from Brittany, the receptionist. Brittany, a young woman with meticulously applied makeup and a name tag fastened crookedly, glanced Evelyn up and down. Her tone was curt. "Can I help you?" she asked, her words laced with boredom. Evelyn smiled warmly. "Yes, I have a reservation for this evening." "Name?" "Hayes, Evelyn Hayes." Brittany frowned as she tapped away on the computer keyboard. After a few seconds, she looked up, her perfectly sculpted eyebrows knitting together. "I'm not seeing your name here. Are you sure you booked with us?" "Yes, I'm sure," Evelyn replied, maintaining her composure. "I received a confirmation email just this morning." She pulled out her phone to show Brittany the email, but the receptionist barely glanced at it. "Well, the system says there's no reservation under that name," Brittany said flatly, crossing her arms. "Are you sure you didn't book at the Regency Inn? That's a motel a few blocks down." A hush fell over the nearby guests, some of whom glanced over uncomfortably. Evelyn's expression didn't falter. "I'm positive I booked here," she said firmly. "Perhaps you could check again?" Brittany sighed dramatically, clearly annoyed. "Look, ma'am, I've already checked. There's no reservation under your name. And honestly, if you don't have a reservation, I'm afraid there's nothing I can do. We're fully booked." A middle-aged man in a slightly rumpled suit, the hotel manager, Mr. Davies, approached the desk, noticing the tension. "Is there a problem here, Brittany?" Brittany gestured toward Evelyn. "This woman claims she has a reservation, but it's not in the system. I was just explaining that we're fully booked." Evelyn turned her attention to Mr. Davies, her smile still intact, but her patience waning. "I'm Evelyn Hayes. I made a reservation here and have a confirmation email to prove it." "Mr." Davies gave her a dismissive once-over, his eyes lingering a moment too long on her simple clothes. "I'm sorry, but if the reservation isn't in our system, there's nothing we can do. Perhaps you could find accommodations elsewhere." The condescension in his voice was palpable. Evelyn decided to take a different approach. "Could you call your corporate office? They'll be able to verify my reservation." Brittany rolled her eyes. "Ma'am, we're extremely busy. We can't spend time chasing down a mistake that's not ours." Before Evelyn could respond, a security guard approached, likely called over by Brittany. He stood tall, arms crossed, his presence unnecessarily imposing. "Is there a problem here?" he asked. Evelyn raised an eyebrow. "No problem," she said. "Just a misunderstanding about my reservation." The security guard looked to Brittany, who said, "She doesn't have a reservation and refuses to leave." "I never refuse to leave," Evelyn corrected calmly. "I'm simply asking for clarification about my reservation." The guard's posture stiffened. "Ma'am, if you don't leave voluntarily, I'll have to escort you out." At this point, the other guests in the lobby were visibly uncomfortable, whispering among themselves. Some even pulled out their phones to record the unfolding scene. But Evelyn wasn't fazed. Instead, she pulled out her phone, opened her contacts, and made a call. "Hello, "This is Evelyn Hayes," she said into the phone. "I'm at the Royal Regency Hotel and having a bit of an issue. Could you send over the regional director and legal team? Thank you." She ended the call and turned to the staff. "I'll wait right here." The confidence in her voice unsettled Brittany and Mr. Davies, but they didn't dare back down. Instead, they exchanged nervous glances and muttered to each other. Chapter 2. The Tables Turn. 15 minutes later, a tall man in a tailored suit entered the lobby, flanked by two other individuals. A sharply dressed woman carrying a briefcase and a stern-looking man with a tablet. He approached Evelyn with a broad, apologetic smile. "Ms. Hayes, I'm so sorry for the inconvenience. We'll get this sorted out immediately." The room went silent as everyone watched the interaction. Mr. Davies's face turned pale. "Wait," he stammered. "Ms. Hayes? You mean?" The man in the suit turned to Davies, his smile fading slightly. "Yes, this is Evelyn Hayes, the owner of the Royal Regency Hotel." The shock on Brittany and Mr. Davies's faces was almost comical. Brittany's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. I didn't know," she whispered. Evelyn's smile finally faded, replaced by a look of quiet determination. "That much is clear," she said, "and it's exactly why I chose to come in anonymously, to see how guests are treated when you think no one is watching." She turned to the man in the suit. "Please have the staff's training records pulled. I want a full review of their conduct and adherence to company policies." Turning back to Brittany and Mr. Davies, Evelyn's tone was firm. "Your behavior today was unacceptable, not just to me, but to any guest who walks through those doors. This is not the kind of establishment I want to run." Mr. Davies stammered an apology, but Evelyn held up her hand. "Save it. Actions speak louder than words. Consider this your formal notice. Effective immediately, you're both relieved of your duties." Brittany's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't protest. Mr. Davies, on the other hand, tried to argue. "You can't just fire me without." "Actually, I can," Evelyn interrupted, "and I just did." Chapter 3. A New Beginning. Over the next few weeks, Evelyn implemented a complete overhaul of the hotel's policies and staff training programs. She held workshops on cultural sensitivity, customer service, and conflict resolution. She brought in consultants to evaluate the hotel's existing systems and identify areas for improvement. The changes didn't happen overnight, but slowly. The Royal Regency Hotel began to earn a reputation for excellence, not just in its amenities, but in the way it treated every guest. She replaced the outdated lobby furniture with modern, comfortable pieces. She upgraded the technology throughout the hotel, providing guests with faster Wi-Fi and more convenient check-in options. She also invested in a new marketing campaign to attract a wider range of customers. But the most significant changes were those that focused on the staff. Evelyn believed that the key to providing excellent customer service was to create a positive and supportive work environment. She increased wages, improved benefits, and provided opportunities for professional development. She also implemented a zero-tolerance policy for discrimination and harassment. Chapter 4. Viral Success. Evelyn's story quickly went viral, with headlines praising her for taking a stand against discrimination and for her innovative approach to hotel management. News outlets around the country picked up the story, and Evelyn was interviewed on national television. But for Evelyn, it wasn't about the publicity. It was about setting a standard and proving that everyone deserves respect, regardless of how they look or where they come from. She wanted to create a place where people felt welcome and valued, regardless of their background or status. The Royal Regency Hotel became a symbol of inclusivity and hospitality. Guests from all over the world flocked to the hotel, eager to experience the changes firsthand. Chapter 5. A Legacy of Respect. In the end, Evelyn's quiet determination turned the Royal Regency Hotel into a shining example of hospitality done right. And every time she walked through the lobby, she was greeted with warmth, respect, and gratitude, a testament to the power of leading by example. She instituted a guest is always right policy, empowering staff to resolve customer complaints quickly and efficiently. She also created a customer feedback program, encouraging guests to share their experiences and suggestions for improvement. Evelyn was a hands-on owner, often seen working alongside her staff, cleaning rooms, serving breakfast, and greeting guests. She wanted to show them that she was one of them and that she was committed to their success. Chapter 6. Years later. Years later, the Royal Regency Hotel was thriving. It had become one of the most popular hotels in the city, known for its impeccable service, luxurious accommodations, and commitment to inclusivity. Evelyn had transformed the hotel into a place where people from all walks of life felt welcome and valued. She had created a legacy of respect and hospitality that would endure for generations to come. She had also inspired other business owners to follow her example, creating a ripple effect of positive change throughout the hospitality industry. And every time she saw a guest smiling or heard a staff member going above and beyond to help someone, she knew that she had made a difference. She had proven that it was possible to create a successful business while also upholding the values of respect, equality, and compassion. Chapter 7. The Staff's Perspective, Part 1. Let's rewind a little and see what Brittany and Mr. Davies were thinking before Evelyn revealed her identity. Brittany had been working at the Royal Regency for almost 2 years. She didn't hate the job, but she certainly didn't love it. She saw it as a stepping stone, a way to pay the bills while she pursued her true passion, becoming a social media influencer. She spent most of her time at the front desk scrolling through Instagram and taking selfies, hoping to attract the attention of potential sponsors. Brittany was also acutely aware of social hierarchies. She judged people based on their appearance and their perceived status. She was quick to dismiss those who didn't meet her standards of beauty, wealth, or success. When Evelyn walked up to the front desk, Brittany immediately sized her up. She saw a woman dressed in simple clothes, carrying a plain tote bag. She assumed that Evelyn was just another low-paying customer, not worth her time or attention. That's why she was so dismissive and rude. She didn't see Evelyn as a person, but as an inconvenience, someone who was taking her away from her more important pursuits. Chapter 8. The Staff's Perspective, Part 2. Mr. Davies, on the other hand, had been working in the hotel industry for over 20 years. He had started as a bellhop and worked his way up to manager. He was a seasoned professional, but he was also jaded and complacent. He had seen it all, and he had become cynical about human nature. He was primarily concerned with the hotel's bottom line. He was under pressure from the owners to increase profits, and he was willing to cut corners to achieve that goal. He often turned a blind eye to complaints from guests and treated his staff with little respect. When Brittany told him that Evelyn didn't have a reservation, he didn't bother to investigate. He simply took Brittany's word for it and dismissed Evelyn out of hand. He didn't want to deal with the hassle of trying to find her a room, especially since the hotel was supposedly fully booked. He also made assumptions about Evelyn based on her appearance. He assumed that she was just a disgruntled customer, someone who was trying to get a free room or a discount. He didn't see her as a potential guest, but as a problem to be dealt with as quickly and efficiently as possible. Chapter 9. The Fallout. After being fired, Brittany and Mr. Davies were both shocked and devastated. Brittany couldn't believe that she had lost her job over such a minor incident. She was angry at Evelyn for being so dramatic and for ruining her life. She didn't understand why Evelyn had to make such a big deal out of it. Mr. Davies was also in denial. He couldn't believe that he had been fired after so many years of loyal service. He felt betrayed and resentful. He blamed Evelyn for being too sensitive and for not understanding the pressures of running a business. Both Brittany and Mr. Davies struggled to find new jobs. Their reputations had been tarnished by the incident at the Royal Regency Hotel. Employers were hesitant to hire them, knowing that they had been fired for mistreating a customer. Brittany eventually found a job as a barista at a local coffee shop. It was a far cry from her dream of becoming a social media influencer, but she needed to pay the bills. She vowed to be more careful about how she treated people in the future. Mr. Davies was never able to find another job in the hotel industry. He ended up working as a security guard at a shopping mall. He spent his days wandering around, watching people and feeling bitter about his fate. Chapter 10. A Second Chance? Years later, Brittany and Mr. Davies had both learned valuable lessons about the importance of treating people with respect. They had both paid a heavy price for their mistakes, and they were determined to make amends. Brittany decided to start a blog where she shared her experiences and offered advice on how to be more empathetic and understanding. She also volunteered at a local homeless shelter, helping people who were less fortunate than herself. Mr. Davies, on the other hand, decided to write a book about his experiences in the hotel industry. He wanted to expose the dark side of the business and to advocate for better working conditions for hotel employees. Both Brittany and Mr. Davies were grateful for the opportunity to turn their lives around. They realized that even though they had made mistakes in the past, they could still make a positive difference in the world. Chapter 11. Another perspective, Maria's story. Maria was a housekeeper at the Royal Regency Hotel. She had been working there for over 10 years and was a loyal and dedicated employee. She was also a single mother, struggling to make ends meet. Maria had witnessed the incident between Evelyn, Brittany, and Mr. Davies. She had been horrified by the way Evelyn was treated. She had always admired Evelyn and had been looking forward to her taking over the hotel. Maria was grateful that Evelyn had taken such a strong stand against discrimination. She knew that it would make a positive difference in the lives of all the hotel employees, especially those who were often overlooked or mistreated. After Evelyn took over, Maria's job became much easier and more enjoyable. Evelyn made sure that the housekeepers had the resources they needed to do their jobs properly. She also treated them with respect and appreciation. Maria was proud to work at the Royal Regency Hotel. She knew that she was part of something special, something that was making the world a better place. Chapter 12. The Ripple Effect, Community Impact. The impact of Evelyn's actions extended far beyond the walls of the Royal Regency Hotel. The hotel became a symbol of hope and inspiration for the entire community. Local businesses began to adopt Evelyn's principles of respect and inclusivity. They started treating their customers and employees with more dignity and fairness. The city government also took notice. They passed new laws to protect the rights of marginalized groups and to promote equality and diversity. Evelyn's actions had sparked a revolution. She had shown the world that it was possible to create a more just and equitable society, one business, one community at a time. Chapter 13. Confronting biases, the root cause. To truly understand the situation, it's important to delve deeper into the biases that motivated Brittany and Mr. Davies' behavior. Brittany's bias stemmed from a superficial obsession with appearances and social media validation. She had internalized the message that worth is determined by outward beauty and popularity. This led her to devalue anyone who didn't fit her narrow definition of success. Mr. Davies' bias was rooted in a more systemic problem, the dehumanization of service workers. He had become so focused on efficiency and profit that he had forgotten that his employees and customers were people, not just cogs in a machine. Chapter 14. Training and Transformation, Evelyn's Approach. Evelyn recognized that addressing these biases required more than just punishment. It required education, empathy, and a commitment to creating a culture of respect. That's why she invested so heavily in staff training programs. She brought in experts to teach employees about cultural sensitivity, unconscious bias, and conflict resolution. She also created opportunities for employees to share their experiences and perspectives. The training programs were designed to help employees challenge their own assumptions and prejudices. They were also designed to empower employees to speak up against discrimination and harassment. Evelyn also understood that creating a culture of respect required more than just training. It required leadership. She made it clear that she expected all employees to treat each other and the guests with dignity and fairness. She also made it clear that she would not tolerate any form of discrimination or harassment. Chapter 15. The Power of Empathy, a Shift in Perspective. The key to Evelyn's success was her ability to connect with people on a human level. She understood that everyone has their own story and their own struggles. She treated everyone with kindness and compassion, regardless of their background or status. She also encouraged her employees to develop empathy for their customers. She taught them to listen to their needs and to understand their perspectives. She also encouraged them to go above and beyond to help their customers. By fostering empathy, Evelyn created a more positive and welcoming atmosphere at the Royal Regency Hotel. Guests felt valued and respected, and employees felt empowered and appreciated. Chapter 16: Sustainable Change, a Long-Term Vision. Evelyn wasn't just interested in making a quick profit. She was interested in creating sustainable change. She understood that building a truly inclusive and equitable business required a long-term vision. That's why she invested in programs and initiatives that would benefit the community as a whole. She partnered with local organizations to provide job training and educational opportunities to underserved populations. She also supported local artists and musicians, showcasing their work at the hotel. Evelyn believed that by investing in the community, she was investing in the future of her business. She knew that a strong and thriving community was essential for the success of the Royal Regency Hotel. Chapter 17: The Legacy Continues, a New Generation. Years later, Evelyn decided to retire. She handed over the reins of the Royal Regency Hotel to her daughter, Maya. Maya had grown up watching her mother run the hotel, and she had learned valuable lessons about leadership, empathy, and social responsibility. Maya was committed to continuing her mother's legacy. She understood that the Royal Regency Hotel was more than just a business. It was a symbol of hope and inspiration for the entire community. Maya also had her own ideas about how to improve the hotel and to make an even bigger impact on the world. She was passionate about environmental sustainability and was determined to make the Royal Regency Hotel a leader in green practices. Chapter 18: The Power of One, Inspiring Others. Evelyn's story is a reminder that one person can make a difference. She had the courage to stand up against injustice and to create a more just and equitable world. Her actions inspired others to follow her example. People all over the world began to take a stand against discrimination and to create more inclusive communities. Evelyn's legacy lived on, not just in the Royal Regency Hotel, but in the hearts and minds of all those who had been touched by her story. She had shown the world that it was possible to create a better future, one act of kindness, one moment of courage at a time. Chapter 19: Reflecting on the Past. Sometimes, Evelyn would sit in the lobby of the Royal Regency Hotel, watching the guests come and go. She would marvel at the diversity of people who were drawn to the hotel. She would see families, couples, business travelers, and solo adventurers, all united by their desire for a welcoming and inclusive experience. She would also reflect on the past, remembering the day when she had first walked through those doors, hoping to make a difference. She would remember the challenges she had faced, the obstacles she had overcome, and the lessons she had learned. She would smile, knowing that she had achieved her goal. She had transformed the Royal Regency Hotel into a beacon of hope and inspiration, a place where everyone felt valued, respected, and loved. Chapter 20: The Royal Regency Today. Today, the Royal Regency Hotel stands as a testament to the power of leadership, empathy, and social responsibility. It is a place where everyone is welcome, regardless of their background or status. It is a place where employees are valued and appreciated. It is a place where the community thrives. The Royal Regency Hotel is more than just a business. It is a symbol of what is possible when people come together to create a better world. It is a reminder that even the smallest actions can have a profound impact. And it all started with one woman, Evelyn Hayes, who had the courage to stand up against injustice and to make a difference.